Our guest today is a green business profitability consultant and copywriter and best-selling author of 10 books, including Guerrilla Marketing Goes Green. He's an international speaker with talks including Making Green Sexy and Impossible is Not a Fact, It's a Dare. Proud Nation, please welcome to the show, Shel Horowitz. Hi, Shel.
Hi, Carter. It's great to be here.
Thanks for coming on. This is going to be an interesting conversation. One of the things that, we talk about in our book is that, the world needs you to be strong. If you're running a blue collar business, you're on the front lines of so many important things, and you have the ability to change your communities by the way that you do business. And one of the things that you talk about, Shel, in your book is the need for being a more conscious business owner, especially when it comes to doing business in a more green way. So I want you to tell us a little bit about your book, why you wrote it, and the story behind it.
Sure. The book is called Guerrilla Marketing to Heal the World, and it's the second Guerrilla book I've done. I did a few years ago, Guerrilla Marketing Goes Green. Both of these co-authored with the late, great J. Conrad Levinson, who created the guerrilla marketing brand back in, 1984. And it goes, you talked about the need to go green, but it's also the business case for going green and even going beyond green. One of my main website is actually called goingbeyondsustainability.com. And the idea is that going green is certainly a good thing and we should all do it. But going green is sustainability, and sustainability is keeping things the way they are. And I see a brighter future. I see that we can actually go to regenerativity, to making things better than they are. Mm-hmm. And that means that business has tremendous opportunity in tackling huge problems, things that may feel very big to a guy with a small fleet of trucks or a woman with a small fleet of trucks doing plumbing or electrical work, but that can actually address things like hunger and poverty and war and catastrophic climate change. I have been braiding together the world of social change and the world of marketing for quite a while, really since about 1999, 2000. I've been in both of those worlds since the 1970s. So the idea that I could actually combine what I knew about changing the world and what I knew about running a successful business is more recent, but it's still been at this point more than 17 years that I've been doing this. And it's the most rewarding work I've ever done. It's just thrilling to me to see that we can actually solve these things and we can do it in ways that make a profit. I mean, how cool is that?
That is amazing. And I'm wondering, though, tell me, you said this at the top, is that you have a business case for going green. What is that case in your mind? Why should a business think about running their business in a way that impacts the world in a positive way and even improves the world around them?
Well, just for starters, lower costs, higher employee loyalty and retention and recruiting of their friends, so you have lower costs in filling vacancies, higher customer loyalty and the willingness to forgive you if you make a mistake because you're generally on the right path. Some of the things you talk about in your own book, Blue Collar Proud, just extrapolating them out a little bit further. The same principles about integrity and doing something that's bigger than just the bottom line apply in this much broader world. So you end up lowering your costs, increasing your revenues, and as every business owner knows, that translates to more profit. So in a very, very concise way, that's the business case. Of course, I spend a few hundred pages on this in Guerrilla Marketing to Heal the World, but that'll at least give you the basic idea.
So, Shel, I'm gonna play devil's advocate a little bit here. I want to, because I'm the contrarian at times. So a lot of well, good. A lot of the people we talk to just refuse to believe in climate change. They don't think that that's an issue, and they don't really think that recycling is a thing. And they're a lot of them are in my age group. I'm 60 and above. So how do you go about convincing these business owners that this is really important, that these are real issues that can be combated, one company at a time?
Well, Taylor, I'm going to, as one 60-year-old to another 60-something, I'm going to give you the contrarian argument. Let's just say, for the purposes of this conversation, let's say the climate deniers are right. Let's say there isn't really a problem. Let's say all we get out of addressing climate change is we have more money in our wallets because we switched to renewable energy and don't have to keep buying gas and oil and coal all the time. We have cleaned up our air, and the rates of asthma and emphysema and all that icky stuff has gone down. We have less garbage to throw away and therefore are paying less to dispose of things, et cetera, et cetera. What if all of those are things that we're getting the benefit of because of addressing climate change turn out to be the only benefits? Hell, that's good enough for me.
Well, I would agree with you. I mean, I actually think that that a lot of what we talk about with renewals, and I'm getting the stutter saying, yeah, are things that can save in healthcare.
Yep.
I mean,
Absolutely.
just take emphysema and asthma. I mean, I know so many kids that have those issues. I didn't see those kinds of issues when I was a kid.
No, neither did I.
Yeah,
Yep.
they're just weren't there. It's kind of like the peanut allergies and all that. I'm like, who was allergic to peanut butter? Nobody when I was a kid. So there's got to be
school. Yeah.
There's something in there. There's something happening environmentally that's causing some of these issues, and I'm not smart enough to know what they are, but it would seem to me we would be smart to figure out what it is and fix it.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, and fix it.
Yeah. So now let's flip the argument around. Okay, so we saw that even if the climate deniers are right, there are still an awful lot of advantages to acting as if they're wrong. Mm-hmm. What if they are wrong and we really do have a serious problem and our grandkids are going to have an uninhabitable world? Yeah. Doesn't make sense, given the two alternatives. One is we make a better life for ourselves with lower bills and lower healthcare costs and all the rest of it for no good reason, ha, ha, ha. Or we save our planet from destroying us. Either way, I think we need to be moving forward, and we need to be moving forward, quite frankly, a whole lot faster than we are, especially under the current government, which is quite hostile to the idea of climate change. I actually wrote to President Trump when he was still President-elect Trump and outlined the business case and never heard back. It wasn't a big surprise. But we only have one planet to live on, and we are only one race that is living on this planet. The planet will survive. I'm not that worried about the planet. But the people on it, the animals on it, the plants on it, that's another thing. Mm-hmm. So I'd like to see that my children's children who do not yet exist have a nice, comfortable world to live in. And it worries me how slow we've been and how limited our targets are, because we have these very good, solid business reasons for moving forward. And we can do, the interesting thing is, Taylor, it's actually usually cheaper to do things more substantially in the change department. Like if you could spend, let's just say, 10% of your net income to produce a 3% increase in your efficiency or a 30% increase in your efficiency, wouldn't you choose the 30% with the same capital cost?
Sure.
Absolutely, every time.
And you can do this. Like, here's a great example. A very tall building in New York that you're probably familiar with called the Empire State Building, built in 1931 at a time when oil was about as close to free as it's ever been. It was like 20 cents a gallon, some ridiculous figure like that. And they did a few years ago something called a deep energy retrofit. They tore out all the windows and replaced them with better ones. They put in thermostat controls that were much better. They did a bunch of stuff. Wasn't a cheap thing. They spent $13 million on it. And I certainly don't have that kind of capital lying around as a one-person home-based business. But they, of course, are much bigger than me, and they did. And here's the really incredible thing, is that they are saving $4.4 million in energy costs every single year. Taylor, that's a 33% ROI.
Yeah. They did something very similar here to the lights on our bridge. Uh-huh. They changed them all out with LEDs.
Yeah, LEDs
Yeah.
1/10 of the power. They last way longer. I did a little hypothetical case of what LEDs could save a business owner who, let's just say, owns a sports stadium or some other building with a high ceiling. And I was shocked because I knew it was going to be good. But the real cost for that person in changing the light bulb is not the light bulb. It's paying for the person to drive the cherry picker and paying for the fuel for the cherry picker and getting up there in that bucket and the labor of taking out the light bulb 50 feet above the ground.
And the insurance on that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So putting a ballpark of $50 an hour on that guy's time and figuring that you were, over the course of, the life of the light bulb, you were going to change X number of light bulbs fewer times, I came up with $4 million in savings for that business owner.
Yeah, my wife is an interior designer, and she does cost analysis for lighting for builders at times. And, the builders are going to put the cheap stuff in. And every time she works with the homeowners that are building, and she does a cost analysis on that, I mean, across the board, every single time it's LED lighting because she shows them how much they're going to save.
Yeah, you make that extra cost in the bulb in just a couple of years, and especially now the bulb cost, it used to be like $40 for an LED bulb, and they were crappy. Now they're really good, and they last for 15 years, and you can sometimes get them for $1 or $2.
Yeah,
and
just amazing.
Why would anybody put in an incandescent or even a CFL when you can do this?
So, and that's the name of the game in business, is reducing waste and increasing profitability, which means that every business decision you make about consumables, about resources that you need in order to make your business work, needs to be looked at through the lens of profitability and reducing waste. And when that lines up with something that is a greener decision, if you decide not to do it simply because it doesn't work with your particular political bent or your view about what what's going to happen to the world in the near future, then really it's more of an ideological decision than it is a business decision. So quit calling yourself a business owner and start calling yourself you're using other people and their money in order to express your ideological bent in the world.
Exactly, Carter, and it doesn't make any sense. And it's I'm really still amazed to find business owners who don't get that. And just like you would insulate your building. I mean, I live in Massachusetts. It gets cold here in the winter. It gets hot here in the summer. By not insulating your building, you're basically heating the outdoor space around your building in the wintertime, which is not going to make you any warmer, and it's going to cost you quite a bit of change.
I mean, it really does make absolute perfect sense. And I'm a financial person, too. I'm the guy that looks through the lens of how much is this cost or how much is this going to save. And I like when somebody gives me an analysis so that I can make a really good decision based on the facts of what it's going to bring dollar-wise. And you are absolutely right. If it saves you money in the long term, it should be a no-brainer no matter what it is.
Now, I want to ask a quick question, Shel, because back a while back, you were listing off some of the business case reasons for doing this and thinking more along the lines of what green can do for your business by becoming more green. You mentioned higher customer loyalty, and I know that ties right into marketing, which is a sweet spot of yours. And I want to ask, does it really matter to consumers? I mean, is there hard evidence to show that all other things being equal between company A and company B, a consumer is going to weigh their option and choose company A because they're advertising that they're a green business and they're doing things in a much more green way. They're using greener products. They're trying to reduce waste, and they're able to demonstrate that they're doing that and how they're doing it. Does that really make a difference in terms of customer retention and loyalty?
Absolutely. Totally does. Just looking for some stats in the book. Here we go. Here is a 1999 survey of consumers in 23 countries. done by the Conference Board and the Prince of Wales Business Leaders Forum. So these are major players in that space. 40% of consumers will punish a company based on its social actions, and nearly 20% had actually avoided a company's products because of its social actions. There are also statistics that show a positive bias toward when people like what a company is doing, they'll do more with that company. You see this business case over and over again. I've got lots and lots of facts and figures in the book. I will not bore people with them here. But here, just let me see if I can find one more. This is kind of interesting. In 2002, there were 5,740,000 hits on Google for global warming. In 2015, that was up to 49,800,000. Oh, wow. Climate change in that same period went from 8,180,000 up to 36,100,000. So, and by 2015, it was actually 105 million. So people are paying attention to this stuff. People want to do business with companies that do the right thing. And over and over again, we see this.
It's interesting that you bring this up because this morning I was listening to the news, getting ready to come to work today. And the day that we're recording this, it's the very first time in 163 years that Dallas, Texas, in November has reached over 90 degrees, and their high today is expected to be 93, 94 degrees. Wow. Now, that's where I grew up, is in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And I heard that and just went, oh, my gosh, because by Halloween, it was cold down there.
Uh-huh.
So that
we haven't had a frost yet, and I live in Massachusetts, and we are, recording this in early November.
Yeah.
That's never have we not had a frost the entire month of October.
Yeah, it was startling.
So what every business owner needs to understand who's listening to this is it doesn't matter one whit what your particular ideological, political, or scientific bent is. It just doesn't matter. What you need to know is if you're in business, your consumers, your customers care, and they're concerned, and they're making choices about who they're going to choose in the marketplace to perform services for them based on these criteria. So
exactly, Carter. And, you can take it farther, though. It's not enough to just go green. You have to go green. But then if you can go beyond that to really looking at how you can leverage your business to make these big changes in the world that really need to happen. It's 2017. Why do we still have people dying of hunger in 2017? There's plenty of food to go around. In fact, this is a shocking and horrible fact. Roughly 40% of all the food grown in the world gets thrown away. That's criminal as far as I'm concerned when people are hungry. Mm-hmm. So, if you can address something like that, let's take a nice blue collar example, like a pizza shop owner. Okay, maybe a pizza shop owner could start a program to train inner city kids in pizza making, hire them as they graduate from the program to work in the shops, and maybe in a couple of years sell them a franchise, buy organic wheat and organic tomatoes and local cheese from local farmers, and use some of the profits to partner with a hunger charity, and which will in turn bring in more revenues because that hunger charity might have, let's just say, 50,000 people on their mailing list that are going to hear what a great company you are and why they should buy their pizza from you, and why if you buy it on this particular night, they're going to get a chunk of it. And it just builds on itself and builds on itself. So you're addressing hunger and poverty and teen joblessness while making a really good pizza and building incredible loyalty with your customers, with your employees, with the people in that charity, with the people in the community who read about you in the paper or hear it on the radio, and on and on and on it goes. And that's just one of them, gazillions examples.
Yeah, and there's a lot of ways that you can give back to communities, and it can be small and it can be large. And I think the real trick here is to think about what you do and to think about what is meaningful to you and how do you want to help the world.
Right, and you don't have to go that alone. I mean, I and other people who do what I do are here to help you. I love working with businesses to help them figure out what they can do that makes them money while making the world better and how to build and market it.
Yeah, and that's perfect. And I can't imagine any business owner that wouldn't be open to wanting to know how can I do more good in the world, be perceived as a better company in my community and the world, and make more money.
Lower costs, reduce waste, and make more profit.
Yeah.
I mean, all of those things are in line and possible by going green. That's brilliant.
You know, I do a talk called, well, actually, I won't spoil the surprise. But yeah, I mean, we ordinary people can and do change the world. And this is something people don't realize, like, you know, how could I ever be like Rosa Parks? Well, Rosa Parks was a seamstress. You know, she had an opportunity to do something great and she took it. She wasn't born great. Lech Walesa, who threw the Russians out of Poland and became the president of Poland, he was a shipyard electrician. You know, so your listeners, ordinary people, guys in trucks, should not feel limited by the fact that they haven't yet become great.
Greatness is not about the position you've been born into. It's about what you see that needs to be changed in the world. And it's purely a decision of will to make that change.
We see a lot of people born into privilege who are not great. We see some who are, but we see a lot of just, you know, spoiled brat people out there who've never had a clue about what it is to make a living or make a payroll. And those people don't get a lot of respect. Maybe their bank accounts get some respect, but their bank accounts are inherited money from somebody else's hard work.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, we forget that. I can't believe it, but we live in America where supposedly anything is possible. You know, the American dream, the fact that someone of little means can come to the shores of this country or be born in this country with very little and ascend to a place where they are accomplishing monumental things, not only for themselves and their families, but for the world. And we forget sometimes. We think that must be impossible, but it's really not. So, Shel, this has been a great interview. I wish we could continue it. I have to ask you, though, I know people are going to want to connect with you. So make the business case for connecting with Shel Horowitz.
Okay, because I can help you do these things. I can help you figure out where in your current product mix or where in your existing capabilities you have the potential to build these kinds of products and services, how you can market them, how you can actually reach out and partner with other people and make that message go farther. It might be a nonprofit, or it might be a complementary non-competing business, or it might even be a competitor. Sometimes you can be stronger together by working with your competitors. There's far more than I could say here. I do want to, before I tell people how to get a hold of me, I do want to share this quote that we were talking about before we went on the air from Muhammad Ali, because it just inspires me totally to do what I do. And here it goes. Impossible is just a big word thrown around by small men who find it easier to live in the world they've been given than to explore the power they have to change it. Impossible is not a fact, it's an opinion. Impossible is not a declaration, it's a dare. Impossible is potential. Impossible is temporary. Impossible is nothing. I actually did a whole TED Talk called Impossible is a Dare, and I've done that talk several times since. So to get a hold of me, my website is goingbeyondsustainability.com. And actually, if you go to goingbeyondsustainability/go-deeper, you will see a lot of free gifts I have for your listeners, as well as some opportunities to connect with me and do some work together. And you can also find the contact form on that website, or write to me, SHEL, that's S like Sam, at greenandprofitable.com, or call me at anytime 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, 413-586-2388. Or just send me a tweet at Shel Horowitz, SHELHOROWITZ. So again, Green and Profitable, Shel at greenandprofitable.com, goingbeyondsustainability.com/go-deeper, 413-586-2388, or Twitter at Shel Horowitz with one L.
Thank you, sir. And we'll make sure that we include those in the show notes as well. I love your quote. That is powerful. And thank you for sharing that with us. And thanks for coming on the show today.
It's been a pleasure.